Check them out, the glasses are beautiful. Makes me look gorgeous. Gorgeous. Yeah.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey sinners, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kurth, and I'll be your host today for another Media Monday topic. Today we're going to talk about jumping the gun and overreacting to stories on mainstream media and on social media. But before we get started, I want to remind you, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and click that bell icon. Need all the help I can get, man. My channel's small and it's growing. So let's share and keep it going, shall we? Hey folks, welcome to the channel. My name is Kurth, and I'll be your host today for today's Media Monday topic. Today I want to talk about overreacting and jumping the gun on the stories that hit mainstream media and social media, and the consequences. Today I want to talk about two people, pretty much, and then we'll move on to a few other things. But I want to talk about what Ilhan Omar had said in a news conference, I believe that's what it was, or a rally of some sort, about 9/11 and her comparison to the attacks in New Zealand. She claims that it was President Trump's tweets that are causing death threats. I don't think so. They may, don't get me wrong, somebody out there may have heard what Trump said and decided to send her a threat, but I'm on the fence on that. But I tend to lean a little bit more towards, if she is getting death threats, they came from what she said, not from what President Trump tweeted. Because comparing the death of 50 people to the death of 3,000 people, that's pretty ballsy. But then again, we are talking about Miss Omar, who has said some pretty outrageous things in the past. And then I want to talk about AOC, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and her take on the Green New Deal, how she blew up in Congress because the deal didn't pass. It didn't make it through. She gets real passionate there, but she doesn't get her facts straight. They don't jive, and I'll prove that. I debunked that in just a few minutes, and I'll show you those. But these videos and the websites that I show you, those links will be in the description below. So let's get started.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties. So we are coming off a tragic nightmare that has happened to Muslims in New Zealand.
As I watched the video, it wasn't her comment of some people that did something that upset me. It was once she made that comparison to New Zealand, that's when I was like, well, wait a minute. How is the attack on 50 people more tragic than the attack on 3,000 people? That's just not right. And for a member of Congress to make such a statement, in my opinion, is wrong. She should have done something different, She could have at least said that 9/11 was tragic. Had she done that, she probably wouldn't have received as much backlash. Not only that, but New Zealand has nothing to do with our country, at least in this aspect. How the Muslims are treated in other countries isn't how Muslims are treated necessarily in America. Just like Christians aren't treated the same in America as they are in Muslim countries. There is a difference. Here's a video of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez going off on the response of the Green New Deal. Here you'll see her spreading a good amount of fear about the dangers of climate change. keep in mind, and I will show you after the video, it took me less than 5 minutes to find information to debunk this.
This is not an elitist issue. This is a quality of life issue. You want to tell people that their concern and their desire for clean air and clean water is elitist? Tell that to the kids in the South Bronx, which are suffering from the highest rates of childhood asthma in the country. Tell that to the families in Flint, whose kids have their blood is ascending in lead levels. Their brains are damaged for the rest of their lives. Call them elitist. You're telling them that those kids are trying to get on a plane to Davos? People are dying. They are dying. And the response across the other side of the aisle is to introduce an amendment 5 minutes before a hearing in a markup. This is serious. This should not be a partisan issue. This is about our constituents in all of our lives. Iowa, Nebraska, broad swaths of the Midwest are drowning right now, underwater. Farms, towns that will never be recovered and never come back. And we're here, and people are more concerned about helping oil companies than helping their own families? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is about our lives. This is about American lives. And it should not be partisan. Science should not be partisan. We are facing a national crisis.
Okay, here we are at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's website. The most recent asthma data as of March 25th, 2019 by state or territory. State or territory adult current asthma prevalence by state or territory as of 2015. Here it is. New York has 1,532,508 cases and 9.9% with persistent current asthma. Okay, and then that 1 million number was the number with current asthma. The mortality rate in New York, 12.5% or 273 deaths. Number of deaths, death rate per million. So per million, 12.5. That number doesn't seem all that high. But if you want to look at kids, asthma severity among children with current asthma. Here again, intermittent severity and persistent severity. There's your numbers for New York. From Michigan Radio, more than 3,000 water samples have been tested from homes in Flint, Michigan since the water crisis. More than 3,000 water samples have been tested from homes in Flint, Michigan since the water crisis made national news. Today, Flint's lead levels are well below federal action limits. There are a small percentage, but dozens of samples have had lead concentrations over 1,000 parts per billion. The highest recorded was 22,905 parts per billion in a sample from 2016. But as of July through December of 2017, 90% of Tier 1 samples tested under 6 parts per billion. So the water crisis that has kids' blood overrun with lead in Flint, Michigan is just false. Your kid's going to get more lead poisoning from licking a damn pencil than drinking the water in Flint, Michigan. To say that these numbers consist of a national crisis in the country today, that's just flat out wrong. You're doing nothing but spreading fear. You're trying to make a point, and your point isn't valid. I agree. We do need to do something about our climate, but one country can't change the world. It takes everybody. Not only that, what's the worst that's going to happen in the next 12 years? We're not all going to die. Water levels in the, the sea level may rise, putting those that live on the coast, in a slight need to go, uh-oh, the hell am I going to do now? Might flood, might rise it up a bit. Who knows? Nobody knows for sure. We do know that the water level will rise the more that the polar caps melt. But we also know it is a proven fact that this is a swing. It does this. It doesn't just go, oh, everything's good. Man comes, poof, skyrocket. It's been a lot worse in the past. I watch documentaries on this stuff all the time. I'm not going to say I'm overly concerned about it because I'm not. But I do agree, we do need to do something. But to call this word, but to call this as much of a crisis as World War II, come on. You're just spouting fear. You're becoming a fearmonger. Something you claim not to be. So stop it. All right, Alexandria, just stop it. It's comments from those in the spotlight that inspire the viewer's thoughts. No matter what you're talking about, you probably should do a little bit of research before putting it out there on mainstream media or on social platforms. Because once you say something, it's out there for the whole world to see. And I guarantee you, somebody out there is going to do a little bit of fact checking. Like I said earlier, it took me less than 5 minutes to find that information. And I'm sure if I spent just a little bit more time on Google or Bing, I could get even more current information. So for those that jump the gun on trending topics, a little warning. You jump the gun too early, you might look like a fool, but you may lose out. For example, when Jussie Smollett's story broke out, a lot of those in the spotlight used that to either push forward a political agenda or to bring more awareness to the whole hate crime issue. And I agree, hate crimes are bad. Shouldn't happen, but they do happen. But not on the level that we were exposed to during the Smollett case. They do happen, don't get me wrong. But as it turns out, so do the hoax ones, the false ones. When the narrative changed, those that spoke out had to do a lot of damage control. Or they just dropped it, left the story and just, walked away from it. They continued to push forward the same narrative. They ignored the fact that his friends, his two black friends, those two brothers, did attack him. That has been proven. Even his lawyers admit that. So therefore, it wasn't two white supremacist Trump supporters. He was not jumped by two white guys wearing Trump hats, yelling, "This is MAGA country." That did not happen. Some of those in the spotlight decided that they were going to continue to push forward with this narrative. Even though the facts had come out and the facts changed the whole story, they decided to continue. Some did walk away, just wouldn't say nothing. But then there's a few, and yes, CNN, I am talking to you, that tried to change the fact that they had anything to do with it. Or they too jumped the gun. A lot of people did. Some looked like fools afterwards. Some could care less. Sure, you can just let things die down and wait for the facts to come out. But then you miss out on that hype that's trending, you miss out. The point I'm trying to make is that jumping the gun and overreacting to the topics that are hot right now do more harm than good. Some of the mainstream media decided to run the Russia collusion story on a daily basis. And as the country watched along, it became more divided each day. Then once the story broke out that there would be no charges sought, our country once again was faced with the question, now what? I have a lot of respect for those that choose to voice their opinions in a public manner, whether it be on mainstream media or in social media such as this on YouTube. It takes a lot of guts. It really does. It is rewarding in some ways, but it comes at a cost. If you're willing to speak your mind in a public platform, then you've got to expect that somebody's going to respond. The public will respond. Not all of it's going to be good. Not all of it's going to be bad either. But nonetheless, you need to own up to what you say or do in a public spotlight. And some of you need to stop trying to play the victim. You know, you just need to own your words, own your actions, and then move on. Continuing to play the victim eventually is going to lead to the cry wolf scenario. You know, you keep pushing it, and eventually the public's going to lose confidence and interest in your story or your message. And once that trust is gone, it's almost impossible to get back. And in some cases, it can backfire. So here's my question to you sinners out there. Have you ever overreacted or jumped the gun on something and was later proven to be wrong? And if so, what happened and were you able to move on? There you go, sinners. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and click that bell icon. Why don't you hang out for a few more moments and check out some of these videos. I think you might enjoy them. Also, just want to say thank you once again. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. It means a lot to me. So come on back. Until I see you guys again, see you. Bye.